Julian thought he knew the sound of his wife's voice. He'd heard her sing in the shower for 10 years. So when she started going to late-night Easter rehearsals every Tuesday and Thursday, he didn't doubt her, not at first. But tonight, the music sounded mechanical, like a recording. And as he watched her walk past the chapel doors and slip into a black SUV waiting in the alley, Julian realized the song wasn't for God. It was a siren's call, leading him into a nightmare he wasn't prepared to face. Most people think betrayal happens in an instant, a stray text, a lipstick stain. But for Julian, it was a slow fade. It was the way Clara suddenly stopped asking him about his day, the way she started wearing perfume he'd never bought her, and the way she insisted every single night that the choir needed her more than he did. Before we dive into the dark secret Julian uncovered that night, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We tell stories that prove the people closest to you might be the ones you know the least. Let's get into it. Julian and Clara were the couple everyone envied. He was a high school history teacher. She worked part-time at a local library. They lived in a quiet suburb where the biggest scandal was usually a neighbor's unmowed lawn. When the local cathedral announced their grand Easter resurrection performance, Clara was the first to volunteer. She told Julian it was her way of giving back. He was proud of her. He even helped her practice her scales in the morning. But then the rehearsals started getting longer. It started with the money, small amounts, a pair of $400 heels hidden in the back of the closet, a new designer handbag she claimed was a gift from the choir director. Julian wasn't a jealous man, but he wasn't a fool either. One Tuesday, after Clara left for practice, he noticed she'd forgotten her sheet music on the counter. He grabbed it and drove to the church, thinking he'd be the hero of the night. He expected to hear a 40-person choir. Instead, the church was silent. The doors were locked. Not a single soul was there. His heart dropped into his stomach. But then his phone buzzed. It was a text from Clara. "The acoustics are so loud tonight I can barely hear myself think. Home late, don't wait up." Julian stood in the silence of the empty parking lot, holding the sheet music. She wasn't just lying, she was building a different life. But what he found when he followed her the next night changed everything. The next rehearsal night, Julian didn't go to the church. He waited. He watched Clara pull out of their driveway, drive 2 blocks, and swap cars with a driver in a tinted SUV. He followed them for 40 minutes, deep into the industrial district, a place of warehouses and shadows. They stopped in front of a building with no windows, guarded by 2 men in suits. He crept through the back entrance, his heart hammering against his ribs like a trapped bird. He expected to find another man. He expected a sordid affair. But as he pushed open a heavy velvet curtain in the back of the hall, the sound hit him. It wasn't hymns. It wasn't praise. It was the cold, rhythmic clinking of chips and the low, intense murmur of high-stakes gambling. Julian froze. There in the center of the room sat his innocent wife. She wasn't a singer. She was the lead dealer for the city's most dangerous illegal gambling ring. She moved with a cold, terrifying grace Julian didn't recognize. She wasn't the woman who hummed over morning coffee. She was the siren, the woman responsible for taking thousands of dollars from desperate men every single night. This wasn't about an affair. It was about an addiction to power. Clara wasn't just working there. She was running the floor. And then Julian saw the man sitting at the head of the table. It was the local police chief. Suddenly, Julian realized why she was never caught. And he realized that if he breathed too loud, he wouldn't just lose his marriage, he might lose his life. She walked in, humming a song about forgiveness. "How was rehearsal, honey?" Julian asked, his voice cracking. "Tiring," she sighed, kissing the top of his head. "The soprano section is finally getting it." Julian looked at her hands, the hands that had just dealt a devastating blow to a family's life savings, and he felt a wave of nausea. He realized their entire life, the house, the cars, his peaceful existence, was funded by the ruin of others. He had two choices: keep the secret and live a lie in luxury, or burn it all down and lose the woman he loved. Julian realized that the woman he married died the moment she stepped into that warehouse. The person sleeping in his bed was a stranger wearing his wife's skin. He didn't confront her. He didn't scream. He simply handed the envelope to an FBI agent, a full list of names, dates, and the location of the rehearsal. As the sun rose on Easter Sunday, Julian didn't go to the cathedral. He sat alone on a park bench, listening to the distant sirens. He realized that some harmonies aren't meant to be fixed. Some songs need to end so the truth can finally be heard. Clara always told him she wanted to reach the high notes. She just never told him how far she was willing to fall to get there. If this story moved you, please like and share. It helps us keep telling these tales. What would you do if you found out your partner's hobby was a lie? Let us know in the comments, because sometimes the person singing the loudest is the one with the most to hide.